And I swear to you, the ancestors inspired me to write this poem. And they told me to start by asking the question, what gives us the drive to do the thing that we must strive to do? I ask because I keep hearing the ancestors cheering. They're saying, come on, people. Because they know that as a whole, we're a strong people, far beyond feeble. But somehow we must capture and tame the things that our minds lust after and claim freedom from low-life inspirations and channel our energy to a higher vibration by finding tranquility in the right motivation. And by setting up roadblocks to shun hatred and greed, and by guarding our thoughts because our thoughts become deeds, and clean ourselves up so that we can reflect a light that symbols trust, love, and respect. And then we're on the right track to make a U-turn so that we can give back and take our gifts to our communities to find the shift that is soon to be a village that's lifted in unity. So I'm going to say it again because I keep hearing the ancestors cheering. They're saying, come on, people. And that goes for me and everyone in the building, for the sake of me and everyone, but especially our children. I said, especially our children. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Keemo and I'm going to do a poem called Local Psychopath. I'm just your local psychopath, bathing in bad thoughts. Music eases the pain, well, sometimes I feel that's all I got. But sometimes I realize that's the main thing corrupting my thoughts. And other than poverty, corrupted thoughts is what got it, that juvenile individual to put that rocket up to his mental. But this poem isn't about those end results. You see, I think hard on things, and overthinking is the results. So I just pick up my remote. 16 and pregnant, and Katie's boyfriend is losing hope. I'm so uninterested. Next channel, they talking about hungry kids and send them this to a foreign country. But yet, I had a friend who was just as bummy. Nobody gave him nothing, so he took something. Now he's a slave dummy to the same country that raised money for other countries while he was hungry. Well, ain't that something? They're kidnapping our youth and asking for ransom, calling it bail. That's why when we see the pig's face, we bail, because they're trained to be grimy as... But what can I say? We're just your local psychopaths, bathing in bad thoughts. Music eases the pain, well, sometimes that's all we got, constantly corrupting our thoughts. I speak for the youth while the media tries to edit our thoughts. It's diagnosed us with ignorance, but if it ain't about money, we ain't hearing it. So we stay ignorant to who he really is, constantly contemplating on materialistics, being very stereotypical. No dreams, no goals, it's like we're following our own shadows. Hip-hop is our example of men and women, but no one listens. Yeah, I said it, no one listens, no ears, no vision, no one listens. They just sit back and say, hey, that's just your local psychopath, bathing in bad thoughts. Music eases the pain. Well, my reply is, I guess that's all we got. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Fque, and this poem is titled One Mic. It's just the ordinary other day. Another threat got me here before the Lord to pray. See, I ain't tripping. God with me, and he set me straight. Prosper soul and motivated by the ones who hate. It's all love. See, Jesus' energy, that's what I harvest. I'm God's gift, so Satan can't harm me. Closed eyes, mindset in the darkness, regardless. My way of life, I'm symbolized as garbage, man. But see, I'm powerful, but recognized as common. God see it in my eyes, and I can see me in my Father's. It's cause I skin. The system wanna see us tarnished, but I don't trust the soul. Plus these crooked cops is heartless. See, from a white perspective, this is your scenario, right? Because I'm young and black, just a stereotype. But I'ma stay on my grind, and I'ma carry my stripes. I'm representing these streets till my burial night. Cause see, they hate I'm living happily, so haters start to challenge me. And it don't bring me down, now they plotting on my family. Bulletproof, protecting my life cause they shooting rapidly. Yeah, I be swagged out, but I don't live no fantasy. See, I done been through tragedies, my people dying randomly. I told them I'm the next president and then they laughed at me. Money coming in, haters increasing miraculously. Then I wear some jewelry, they study me like anatomy. Actually, I done had to go through haters jacking me because the kids stunt and it turned into a catastrophe. But God got my back, so I stunt with the other half of me. And I'ma keep schooling these haters like an academy. Made it through this poverty, struggles coming financially, protected by the God in me. And also answer me, protected when they blaspheme me. My partner's gonna blaspheme me, and I'ma shine in heaven. So killing me is blasphemy. Your satisfactory of annihilating is saddening, cause in reality, we are family, roots from majesty, but we begin mastering drugs, violence, and traps and things. Traps create our salary. Salary spent on fashioning. Don't mean to sound racist, but we the reason to be dramatically ahead. We blame it on our complexioning, but practically they manually held us down like it's gravity. Naturally, the heart of a soldier ignore the agony. So you gon' see me rise through all of the circumstancing and man-made humanity, regulations and strategies created just to sell me a dream, but then abandon me. Forget that, man. I'm all out to give. Unless it's charity. And now I see the light peeking through, breaking bread with my people too. Deliver from this evil and live by what would Jesus do. All people equal to embody if you spiritual. It's a miracle I'm blessed, and I'm blessed to have this miracle. See, y'all quick to point these fingers, the crime ain't even about us. Y'all say we ain't trustworthy. Really, we about trust. See, God is my judge. To the day that he slammed the gavel, I'ma be few catch him regardless of the criticism. And that's real.
My name is El Uno, and this piece is entitled Makeup. So I have a confession. Every day that I wake up, before I brush my teeth and such, even after I've thanked my maker, you know what I do? I put on a little makeup. Now, why is that a surprise? Because I can see the brightening of your eyes as you attempt to comprehend these lines. I know this may have caught you by surprise, that such a guy, might I say, so handsome, so fly, feels the need he needs to put on makeup just to get by, as if to imply interest for playing for the other side. Not that there's anything wrong with that, one or two familiar Seinfeld lines. Besides, having this nice, beautiful skin I'm in should be a sin. And you're right, I don't really need it. But I digress. Because what I speak of is a disguise that helps cover up some of the biggest lies we tell ourselves in the world that everything's fine. Oh, I'm alright. Or everybody's favorite. I'm good, not complaining. You see, on the daily, we put on blush, hoping that a made-up smile will help hush the rush of people asking what's really behind it. Plaster on concealer with the means of masking despair and hopelessness. As a kid, the boogeyman was real, but as an adult, reality struck. And guess what? Depression and low self-esteem is realer and a norm, it seems. Tears of a clown, smiles in the face of the public, but it's tears and frowns that seem to drown those who are only trying to swim good. But water and makeup don't mix because real elements are made to resist. So how could it ever be used as a permanent fix? It's best that we wear our flaws and embrace them. Makeup becomes a problem when the fake stuff becomes a part of our everyday makeup. I guess that's why they call it makeup. Because anything that's made up is make-believe, not reality. And sadly, many of us hide our blemishes, never realizing that those who truly love us relish it. So wear it like Samson, because that's where your strength is. Don't allow anyone to taint it or attempt to take it with such ambiguous language as, "You're weird," or "You're such a lame." Typically said with disdain, but not really knowing that they're paying you one of the biggest compliments. Because deep down they wish they could wear their imperfections as perfectly as you. So today I declare, no more foundation for me. It's back to the foundation for me. Besides, the world's beauty is only shown and praised through physical means, and I prefer you to have a real connection with me. So I put back the Mac and all the other crap, because it's best to show face than to save it. Allow my insecurities to take me places, beginning on the road to rediscovering my greatness, no longer running away from it, but embracing it. Because one day, we'll all go tired of waking up, and the first thing we do, before brushing our teeth and such, even after thanking our maker, is taking all that precious time just to put on a little makeup. Thank you.
I'm El Uno.
I'm Keemo Catchums.
I'm Fque Catchums.
I'm Miss Delisa.
I'm Tracy Carzell, and you're watching
Between Poets.
What do you know of times gone by, of heritage and home? What do these things we've never known? And what has gone before? You've been told of heroes old. Listen and we'll tell you more. Gather around and all sit down. Listen closely because we're gonna tell it like it was. For hundreds of years, parts of Africa were isolated from the rest of the world. Here people expressed themselves in a culture which was unique because there was little from the outside to influence it. The early white explorers didn't understand black Africa at all. To them, the people were savages. Their culture seemed primitive. Yet today, the influence of that so-called primitive culture is felt worldwide in many ways. Every day we are touched by something of Africa, even though most of us don't know it. While it's almost impossible to recognize all of the things that came from African culture into our own, there are some that have remained obvious through the years. Most of all, music. Listen. Brother Alatunji, that's what you would call a typical African song, isn't it?
That's right. Your typical African song that has significant rhythmic patterns to it, because rhythm is the soul of our life. It's added to the song to make it more elaborate, more vital, and have tremendous force with it. As you will see, that rhythm itself, is complicated, but it's always based, on one particular beat, that song itself. Like in this, the chief drummer will start something like, then the first drummer will come with something like, kede, kede. Then the second drummer will come with, drummer will come. Then the first person playing a different instrument other than the drums will come in. Then we go back again to the first drummer to actually put the whole thing together.
That very same kind of song here in this country. Only in the old days of slavery, we didn't have any drums for accompaniment. When slaves were brought over from Africa, they weren't allowed to take any of their musical instruments. After they got here, if they tried to make drums, their masters would destroy them. But the traditional African song forms showed through anyway. And we made our own versions of those lead chorus melodies. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the room, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the room, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the room, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This is another characteristic of the black man's music, both in Africa and America. It always expressed how people feel about their lives. Many times it's even about real personalities and events. Take the blues, for instance. When black men were forced to leave the plantations and seek their meager fortunes in the big cities, times were really hard. What happened to their music? It grew into the blues. The blues tell about life. They're sort of the black man's diary, just thoughts and feelings. Good morning, blues. Blues, how do you do? Oh, good morning, blues. Blues, how do you do? I just got up this morning, Lord, to get away from you. trouble in mind. Lord, I'm blue. Oh, but I won't be blue always. Because you know the sun's gonna shine in my back door one day. I'm oh so lonely, and it sure does grieve my mind. Sometimes I feel like singing, then sometimes I feel like crying. Oh Lord, got trouble in mind, and I'm so blue. But I won't be always, 'cause the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday. It all started with a simple melody, telling what you were thinking. You laughed and cried. Sometimes you complained a little, but life always went on, and you sang about it. Then times changed again. There was an even greater move from the farm to the cities, and many moved north. Black people took their music with them. The rhythms started to get more elaborate. Instruments were added, and the simple melody wasn't so simple anymore.
Darling, before you know it, you are going from the blues to jazz. And that's really very closely related to African music. Really, I would like for you to hear some African jazz. You know.
So what are you going to do now?
It's a tune called Juba, and in translation means salutation to you and to everybody else. Juba.
Beautiful. Well, we've come just about full circle, from ancient African rhythms up to contemporary music. But there's one thing left, and that's the in sound of today. Our pop music forms are getting harder and harder to pigeonhole. They're getting to be a mixture of rock, folk, blues, anything you can name. As a matter of fact, soul music, the music that really expresses feelings, has never been so popular. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You know it's getting late, so please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world
They told me, Heraclitus, they told me you were dead. They brought me bitter news to hear and bitter tears to shed. I wept as I remembered how often you and I had tired the sun with talking and sent him down the sky. And now that you are lying, my dear old carrion guest, a handful of grey ashes, long, long ago at rest, still are thy pleasant voices, thy nightingales awake. For death, he taketh all away, but them he cannot take. This poem was written by a Greek named Callimachus of the time of the Emperor Alexander the Great, 400 years before Christ. It was translated by a 19th century Englishman, William Corey. I'd like to read it to you now in Greek so that you get some sense of the rhythm in the original language. You'll notice that the divisions of the English verse tend to be similar to those of the Greek. Aipitis Heraclite teon maron, esdemi dacru igagem, emnisthin hosicus amphoteroi, helion en leski catagusamen, alasumen pu, sign halicarnasiu, tetrapoli spadi. Haide te aitu usena idanes, hisen ho panton ha pactis haidis, ukepi kairabalai. The poem is a lament for a dead friend who was also a poet. Let's try to reduce it to its bare essentials as a statement. We find that, superficially, this is what it says. Callimachus' friend was alive and is dead, but his poems live after him, and indeed the written word is all that death cannot destroy. Yet we can feel that this is not all that the poem says. By means of the arrangement of words, by repetition of phrases, by peculiar forms of word harmony, the poet makes us feel a far deeper emotion than in the simple prose statement I've just quoted. They told me, Heraclitus, they told me you were dead, has quite a different effect from either they told me, Heraclitus, you were dead, or they told me of your death, Heraclitus. Because the effect on us is different, the meaning of the line in the poem is different from the prose sentence. The hidden music in the repetition and the arrangement of the words bring out some hidden meaning that was not there before. And when Callimachus speaks of his dead friend as a handful of grey ashes, it doesn't mean the same thing as a dead body. It means that and something more. A whole mass of associations called up in our minds by this image, a handful of grey ashes. Here then are two aspects of the lyric poem as it is in all times and ages, which I want you to consider. One is word harmony, which we call rhythm, and in certain stricter forms, rhyme. The second is the use of the poetic image to change a simple logical statement into a more complicated one of much wider application. Some of what I'm going to tell you about Greek lyric is true only for the Greeks. Much of it is true of the whole body of lyric poems as they exist inside the Western tradition, that is, in the history of the peoples of Europe and later America. At the head of this tradition stand the Greeks. We have less of their lyric poetry than of their dramas or philosophy, but what there is extraordinary in its power and scope. A lyric poem, as the Greeks originally understood the term, was a poem accompanied by a lyre. And a lyre is an instrument like this, fitted with strings and struck with a plectrum. It was originally supposed to have been invented by the god Hermes and then given by him to the god Apollo, who was thereafter for the Greeks the god of the lyre and of lyric poetry. I don't know when the actual expression in Greek, which means lyric poetry, was first used. Certainly, the first lyric poem came into existence when someone in reflective mood turned his reflections extempore into words and accompanied himself on the lyre. In a way, this is somewhat like the songs sung in the Kentucky mountains and accompanied by a guitar. There are many illustrations of lyre players on the Greek vases, this one for instance, but music in the strict sense of the word ceased very early in Greece to be a necessary accompaniment of the lyric poem, though some of the poetry I'll talk about later, the poetry of Pindar and the lyrics in the plays, was accompanied by both music and dancing. But the Heraclitus poem I've read you had no music with it, and neither has most of our modern lyric poetry. But in all lyric poetry, something of the quality of music is embedded in the very nature of the thing itself. Though the formal music has gone, its place has been taken by word harmony, rhythm, and sometimes rhyme.
I'm just going to read one piece. It has a cherry tree in it, so I hope that... there's the nature, yeah. Do you swear? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Our first leader, George Washington, chopped down a cherry tree, and when he was asked, he couldn't tell a lie. He said he did it. I'm supposed to use that as an example of a great leader's character, to never tell a lie. Yet he chopped down a cherry tree, a source of food, for no reason. No reason was ever given, just that he couldn't tell a lie. Why? He didn't like cherries? What's not to like about cherries? I think it was the first sign of aggression. He just let it out by attacking the environment, and he just didn't lie about it. Now, when our modern leaders do the same version of chopping down the cherry tree, they just lie. People know they chopped down the cherry tree. Our modern leaders respond, there was never any tree there. It's established there was a tree, but they knew nothing about it. They released the possible scenarios. The tree must have fallen down by itself, probably due to a powerful wind. When evidence of wood chips are found where the tree used to be, they respond, we have to do something about those pesky beavers. When they're informed that all the beavers are dead, suddenly a Boy Scout was arrested, said to have been on drugs. Searching his room, it's reported he listened to music about Satan. Then there were notes found on hundreds of Girl Scout cookie boxes from a Girl Scout who had sold him the cookies. The notes were rejections of his pleas for her to be his cookie. It is reported we have caught the terrorist, and after hearing this on the news, I'm supposed to feel relieved. The problem has been solved, the guilty have been caught, and will be punished. The next day, another tree is missing. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God. Thank you.
Hi, this is indeed a great day. We have some great heavy hitters with us on today, and I'm your host, Tracy Carzell, and welcome to Between Poets. Today we have with us El Uno. On the end over there, we have a group of poets, a family group. We have with us Keemo, we have Fque, and we have Delisa. Let me tell you all, you are going to enjoy today's show because we've got some great people with us on today. I'm going to start with Keemo. Keemo did a poem called Local Psychopath. And one of the things that you said in your poem, you said that you had corrupt thoughts, and you said hip-hop is our example, but no one is listening. Isn't that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
What I was trying to express was that the youth, our guidance is mainly hip-hop, and we don't have too many people to look to.
Okay,
so,
well, why do you think hip-hop is your guidance? And you guys can jump in at any time.
I feel like it's our culture. The black youth culture is it's a hip hop culture nowadays, and we look to the rappers, and that's our guidance.
Okay. All right. And why is that, though? You don't think we have any? You don't think we have any other examples to look to, or is that just people like me are just old school, and we don't have anything that we could say to you that'll help you?
I'm not saying y'all are old school or played out. I'm saying that the all around basically breakdown of the poem was saying that the people look at us and call us a local psychopath. Though they don't pay too much attention on us as individuals. They just see us in the street. If we listening to our music, we walking down the street bobbing our head like this, so we just look like some little psychopath. But it's deeper than that.
What do you think about it?
Well, really, the youth, it is driven today by celebrities, being famous on social networking. It's just like the entire youth is driven to be in an industry where you're surrounded by celebrities if you're not the celebrity. And it's like our idols or our icons is those rappers. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but unfortunately that's
what we got.
Yeah, that's
what we got to work with.
Exactly.
What do you think about that, El Uno?
Well, it's funny you ask. I'm originally from the Bronx, so initially where hip hop and rap started. So I can certainly understand his point of view, because it's like for the kids that are in the streets or in the quote unquote hoods, that is their only that's the only person that they can look to give their story, and with that it comes with, as he said, some people look at it as, these kids are crazy, or these kids they don't have any training or upbringing, but that's not the case. I mean, all of them are very intelligent, especially these rappers, of course, being writers. They have a story to tell, and they're the people that are broadcasting the situation that are going on in the streets.
Well, talk to me a little bit about your name in particular is El Uno. It's number one, and you say it's an acronym for Everyone Lives Under Necessary Orders. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so bring that into it. How do you affect the young people with your spoken word and with everybody living under necessary orders? What are their necessary orders that they're living under?
Well, that's something that you find out as you continue to live and you continue to grow. It's my belief.
So what's necessary for me is not what necessarily may be necessary for you.
Right. Everybody has their own walk.
Okay.
And with their own walk comes their own story. But it is my belief that with their own walk and their own story, we are required to share that, because we never know what it is that I may be going through, or this young brother, we may all be experiencing the same things, but if we're not sharing that, our testimony in whatever way that we can, whether it's at work, whether it's, mentoring, coaching, whatever it is that is your niche, it is my belief that you're required to do that, and of course help and lift up others.
Well, let's talk to Delisa a little bit. Delisa is the mother of Fque and Keemo, and so we're talking about sharing. So are you, let's talk about how are you responsible for bringing them to where they are in this walk, which El Uno was talking about?
Well, I hear a lot of people, try to give me the credit and say, oh, you did a good job and that type of thing. But it seemed like it was just in them from the beginning. I think they were just born with a certain creativity, and a lot of times I think no matter what I would have did, that they would have just came out. That's how I feel sometimes, that they would just be who they are, and that's
But do you think it's our responsibility to nurture that particular thing?
Definitely. Yeah, and I did the best I could, and their dad and everything, but I do believe that it's just them.
Well, you said something in the poem that you did. You said the ancestors are cheering, saying, "Come on, people."
Right.
And if the ancestors are cheering, saying, "Come on, people," you also said it gives them. You said freedom from low life inspiration. That's one of the
Right.
things that you said. Now, with you guys in your poetry, everybody, I'm asking this across the board, does it give you a freedom from low life inspiration, so that those things that people expect from you, you don't necessarily do? You just got to rise above it. You have a different kind of inspiration. Talk to me about that.
Well, yes. Right, and it definitely like it takes me away, because I spill my story and everything I write. Like, as far as low life inspiration and just walking around and being a stereotype, literally. Me and my little brother, this was when we was younger. I was still in high school. I believe he was like in elementary school. We walked in Walmart. It was about like 11 o'clock at night. We walked in. We didn't see what we was looking for. I was looking for an asthma pump for my asthma. We didn't see it, so we was walking out, and the security just checked us just for being, I guess, black, young. Yeah, and just when I get in the mood to just put the pen on the paper and just spill it out, like it definitely, takes me to a higher vibration.
Well, good. What about you, Keemo?
I mean, basically, he just spilled it out. Yeah, it's me writing. It takes me to a different place, a different mind state. But yeah, I mainly write to inspire others and to inform others of
Well,
what.
you had said to us in an earlier conversation, you said that I asked you about why you write. You said yours is for healing the next person.
Exactly. For healing the next person. Poetry pretty much heals me. Listening to it, I love listening to it. I love going to poetry jams and just listening. I feel like it's a healing. So when I write, I feel like as if I can heal others.
Well, what about you, El Uno? Do you heal other people through your spoken word, through what you say, through your lifestyle? How do you do that?
I mean, I would like to believe I do with my my poems. To be honest with you, writing for me is a form of being transparent and just allowing myself to be able to give my therapy. And I've been blessed to be able to do some things and even to get feedback that my poems have helped other people.
Right.
So it is in the form of fashion. It is healing, and I don't necessarily do it with that outlook, but it has come to be that people are appreciative of the things that I write, and it has helped.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to share experience about as far as healing. It was one time I was at a poetry event. It was a guy there. It was a big poetry event. I was the main event, and it was big. It was probably about maybe 200 people in the crowd, and it was nice. A guy got his wallet stolen. And when the guy got his wallet stolen, he came out and he started asking everybody, "Hey, look, man, I don't mean no disrespect, but can I check you just to make sure you don't got it?" Or whatever. I was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, just out of all due respect," I'm like, "Yeah, I wouldn't take your wallet or anything like that." And he said, yeah, he had his rent in there and everything, so he was down. He was at the bar. He was getting drinks all night. I walked by, I tapped him on the back, and that's about it. I got on stage later that day, and I did my poem. And when I got off, it was about maybe 15 minutes after I got off. I guess he came and found me in the crowd. He was like, "Man, look, man, just listening to you, like that really, really just, you said, you know what, man, maybe the next man probably needed it. I feel good now. Like, I really feel good. And like, I know that everything is okay." And I was like, whoa. I was legit like, whoa. Like, I was like, man, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad I was able to touch you with my testimony.
And that's the thing, I think, one of the reasons why we do spoken word, it's not that it just heals me or heals us as a whole, but it's a healing for other people as well. And because if she hadn't done it, you wouldn't do it. Even though she said it was probably in you, you wouldn't do it. You heard somebody, you told me earlier you had a mentor.
Yes.
So, you know, I think there's people that we hear, there's a sound that we hear, there's something on the inside of us that makes us do what we do, that makes us spit on the mic, that makes us, you know, come and say what we have to say that's relevant. Few, you had said in your poem, One Mic, you said, I can see me in my fathers. Haters try to challenge me. What is it that they're challenging in you?
They challenge like my lifestyle. I guess it's just growing up in a rougher neighborhood. It was like all of our brothers. When we walk around in the streets, everybody have to bulk up and get tough, like walk tougher when we crossing each other. Just, you know, and like it's always a mug up and down or something like that.
That's College Park.
Yeah, like in College Park, in the College Park area. So it's like I can't even walk by without getting that look. But every time I get that look, I just say, hey, how you doing? How you doing, bro? You all right? You know, and just try to keep it cordial and let my brothers know that, you know, I'm not out here trying to, see if I'm better than you or see if you better than me. Like it's okay. And like I get a lot of those challenges, you know, it's just like even just like if I walk around in some nice shoes or, you know, it's always something happening in the community.
Well, how do you feel? Do you think you're challenged as well, being a black woman or a mother of these young men? And what about you, Eleanor? Think about it, because I'm coming to you next. Okay, how do you think, or are you even challenged in this area of spoken word?
Well, just being a single mother of 3, I have another son as well, of 3 sons is a challenge in itself. And I think that's where my poem comes in, that the ancestors spoke through me, that we need to take our gifts, whatever we were born with, and our passions out into the world, instead of like where, like Fque was saying, how they grew up, and people just want to look at him and mug him and mean. They don't have anything else, or no one has helped to bring that out of them. So they're in College Park just acting a fool because they don't know, you know, anything. And I think that's why me and my sons are on a mission to help in the College Park area.
Okay, and what about you, Eleanor?
Well, you know,
You think
for me,
you've been challenged?
yes. I mean, every time I get on stage, it's a challenge. You know, for me personally, I'm a laid back kind of guy. I'm not really the person that enjoys, you know, speaking in front of people. But I feel as though, you know, although I've always been a writer and stayed behind my writing in my books, I felt as though it couldn't just stay there. And, you know, the challenge came to get up on stage and to be able to express that. Every time I get on stage, you know, it's a challenge.
So every time you get on stage, you hear what Delisa said, come on, people.
Right.
You know, all of you hear that come on, people kind of thing. Listen, what do you got going on right now? What have you got? You're the host of a spoken word venue, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I am a host of Scribes and Vibes. It's an open mic forum that we have every month, every second Saturday of the month at Stonecrest Library. It's family friendly. All ages are able to come by and perform. We're promoting, you know, just community and the expression of your talents and gifts. So, you know, we
So some not so experienced people like me can come on in and do what we do, right?
Yes, and in all ranges, you know, from the beginners to, you know, novice to the experts in poetry, we invite them all because we want everybody to know that everybody has their stage of growth, but we want to promote, the main thing is sharing your gift. So and we do it for all ages. We've even had children perform. So yeah, it's a great opportunity, and you know, I'm thankful to be a part of it.
Okay, great. What about you, Keemo?
Right now, I'm mainly I do photography and film. That's what I mainly do. So, it like poetry is kind of challenging for me to step from behind the cameras and step on the stages and get in front of the lights and stuff. But right now I'm writing basically my childhood story. I'm thinking about putting together a story line and intertwining poetry with it. Maybe like between the scenes have a poem or two, but the storyline, the poetry has to go with the storyline type thing. But that's what I'm working on right now. I'm writing that.
Okay, great. And Fque?
Well, I have a brand. It's Rebirth. That's what you see right here. R3 BIRTH. The 3 is for it represents me, my older brother, and my little brother. It's the 3 bros. And we're a group of entrepreneurs. Like that's our cameraman. My older brother, he's a drawer. We have like close friends who like produces, make beats. We have people who sing, everything like that. And I'm a musician myself, so I'm big on music. I love music, so that's what I got going on right now. I'm wrapping up the mixtape right now. It's called Noisy Neighbors. You should be hearing that pretty soon, and that's what we're doing right now.
All right, and Delisa, what you got?
I'm doing I'm launching a fashion design business.
You need models?
Yes, I do. And it's just I'm putting together ladies' clothing and men's T-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm doing.
You told me you're working on a book?
A book, yeah, it's called Rebirth from Within. So it's like the 3 of us and my other son putting together that book.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, I have just enjoyed myself tremendously on today, and I just want to thank each one of you for coming out and just blessing me and blessing the show Between the Poets. You guys have really got it going on, for lack of better terms. I don't know all the new slang and all that kind of stuff, but it's good, okay? And I want to once again thank you all so much, and thank everybody for just coming out. Please look them up on Facebook. Look them up on, what are y'all on? Instagram, Twitter, all that other kind of stuff. Delisa, Fque, Keemo, and El Uno. We had a great show on today. Thank you all so much for visiting with us on Between Poets.